All right, on this episode of Bowks Talking Bouts, excited to be talking to an individual set for a huge light heavyweight championship unification bout, and that goes down on February the 17th. It headlines BKFC KnuckleMania 3, and we have Lorenzo Hunt taking on Mike Richman, one of the most excited, or one of the most excitable kind of fights in BKFC history, if not the biggest the promotion has seen. So very happy to have Mike on the show to talk about that. How's the day going so far, man?
It's going good, man. I'm glad to be on here and chatting with you. I just got down here in Albuquerque, actually, a day earlier. We got the press conferences Thursday, but I want to get down here and just kind of do some workouts down here, run, and just kind of get a feel for everything. I know we're 5 weeks out, but it's just good to kind of get a feel for the elevation and shit like that.
Yeah, and is that something you've done in past camps, or is that like a localized, specific consideration for New Mexico just because of the altitude and everything like that? Have you done this for previous fights, or?
No, actually I haven't. When I fought in Denver, that was at elevation, and I didn't get out there early. I just took the advantage of the press conference situation to try to be out here an extra day or so, just to kind of get a feel, several weeks out before the fight. That's really what it comes down to.
And obviously this is a big one, being that it's like the big tentpole event, like KnuckleMania and everything. Like, are you noticing like it's like a bigger event in the sense of like more media obligations or just more people talking to you about it? Like, does this kind of have like almost a bigger profile in a certain sense than some of your previous fights, or does it kind of feel business as usual in a certain regard?
It feels pretty similar, to be honest. The only difference is doing the press conference, 5 weeks out. Now, will it feel different as the weeks get closer with more and more interviews? Sure, it might. It just as far as right now, outside of flying out here for the press conference, it just feels like the same for me. So, but I could imagine that interviews will start ramping up as we get 4 weeks out, 3 weeks out, 2 weeks out, stuff like that.
Yeah, and I guess you're kind of getting used to it a little bit now, this being the fourth straight BKFC main event, so maybe it's kind of like becoming part of the normal feel in that kind of sense too. Like, it seems like you're topping the marquee more often than not.
Yeah, I think it helps to constantly be, on the top end of the card, be in the main events several times, and then co-main events before as well. Always being one of the marquee fights. But then, I have many years of this type of experience with Bellator as well, so it doesn't really come that new to me.
Yeah, for sure, very experienced, and like you said, across multiple combat sports. But I was talking to Lorenzo Hunt a few days ago, and I was kind of asking him the same question, just like, where did this all start? Like, where did the feuding kind of begin? Like, it seems like there's a lot of social media banter and pull-apart brawls and trash talking and things of that nature. Like, from your perspective, like, when did the, I guess, quote unquote bad blood start developing with Lorenzo Hunt?
I can't even put in a specific date on it, honestly. It's just been so much back and forth, right? It definitely happened before our little altercation, little altercation down in Hollywood, Florida. Probably started building up maybe a month before that, to when, he was starting to post online that everyone's afraid to fight him, this and that. And then that's when I just kind of was like, what, fuck that dude, man. I'll go up and fight you. Like, don't be going around here acting like people ain't coming for you. To think that is just so foolish, and just, I didn't respect that. And I think the most of what I didn't respect about him is, his persona, his gimmick. It just annoys me. I think if you saw Lorenzo when he first started in BKFC, he kind of came across as a nice, humble dude, and all those things. And somewhere along the line, it switched to him to play this character, and I just don't respect that.
And I guess like one of the last times we were talking, you were kind of mentioning some of the, I guess, aspirations you have title-wise in other divisions like middleweight and even like 165 and stuff like that. And you were saying that a lot of this like light heavyweight foray is kind of finishing up business with Lorenzo and obviously cementing yourself as like a unified champion would be important too. Like, do you see a longevity, or that longevity rather, in this division after this fight, or would you maybe pursue some of those other options I mentioned?
Yeah, that is a great question. I don't know. I don't see myself staying fighting at 185 very long. After I beat Lorenzo, I'm not sure if I would even fight one more time. Maybe I would defend it one more time. But in my mind, I'm defending the 185-pound belt right now. And the problem that I have with all of this, and this comes from a bare knuckle media standpoint, this comes from the BKFC promotion, this comes from his fan base. All you guys have enabled this character. You have. This is the one fucking goddamn combat sport. If this was MMA, if this was a UFC, if this was boxing, high-level fucking professional boxing, you guys would be telling these fucking guys that, guess what, man, you've never made the title weight for your fight. Not once. Not one. Riggs, 195. Lombard was around 190-something. You've never actually made the title weight to win the 185-pound belt, but somewhere along the line, everyone here keeps fucking enabling this guy, and I really have a fucking problem with that. So in my mind, I am the 185-pound champ, and I don't give a fuck what else anyone has to say. So in my eyes, I'm defending it against Lorenzo right now, if he can even make it this time, which he probably won't. And then, after that, I probably tend to go down to 75 and 65, yeah.
And I actually did talk to him about that. Like, I was saying how, like, in a previous interview we had, that your perception would have been, if you get the Isaac Doolittle win, that you're the true lineal champion. And I mentioned that to him, and he kind of, like, pretty quickly dismissed it. He almost said, you're just telling yourself what you need to hear and you're delusional. Like, not verbatim, but that was almost the sentiment there.
Well, that's the part. But the thing is, none of you guys called him out. None of you guys. None of you fucking media people, and I don't mean to come at you personally, Dylan, but none of you guys, the promotion, nobody does. No one says, hey, Lorenzo, you are delusional, buddy. This is not how the real world works. This is not how combat sports works. In no fucking world would another champion be, I'll even call him out in front of the press conference. I guarantee you Austin Trout has never won a world title fucking weighing 10 pounds heavier than the title belt that he carries and never fighting at that title. I'm sure Diego Sanchez has never fucking went to 20 to try to fight for titles at 55 and 45, and he got to fucking be weighing at fucking 65 or 75. But in some fucking world, this is okay. And this fucking clown is enabled by that because no one checks him. And that fucking bothers me. It ruins, it doesn't legitimize this sport. The people are making illegitimate because you enable this character to make him truly think he is the champion at 185 pounds. I could fucking rant about that all damn day. Because it's more than that, just this dude. You guys all fucking enabled this guy.
Is that something to be found in this fight too as well, just in the sense of, like, putting all of that behind and there being, like, a clear, no one can make any excuses, no one can say anything, like, we're going to figure out who the champ is? Like, is there a level of, I guess, catharsis or closure in that, or is still kind of...
I'm drawing the line for the whole fucking... I'm not just drawing the line for myself, I'm drawing the line for the whole fucking division. And legitimizing the fucking division. That's my fucking plan. And after I fucking take out Lorenzo, most likely I'll probably vacate and go back down to my true weight classes. Like I said, if I really, really wanted to diet hard enough to, I can go all the way back down to 55. I don't want to. I like to eat. I like to do all those things. But I do plan to go to 75, 65. And I just want to get this fucking clown, out the way. And more importantly, I'm trying to, my fan base, I think a lot of my fan base out there and a lot of legitimate combat sports fans out there are like, yo, dude, you've never made weight for your fucking title that you carry around. And you walk around, you're going around saying you're the champion. It fucking boggles my fucking mind. It really does.
I mean, all that being said, though, because I did ask him this question, too. Like, I was asking him what he thought some of your better, like, stylistic attributes are. Like, he's obviously, like, a pretty highly ranked, like, number 2 pound-for-pound fighter. Like, what do you think he brings to the table in terms of like stylistic attributes where you're like, okay, he is like excelling in this certain part of the game?
Sure, this is not me. I'm not trying to tear down his abilities. Sure. Do I think he's a 195-pound champ? Yeah, that belt he carries 195, and he beat Quentin Henry, and I'll give him that. The attributes that he carries is he's still for at his age. He's older than me. I want to say he's 39 or 40, and I'm 37. At his age, he still carries a lot of that athleticism. He still carries a lot of that explosion. He's very A to B line striker. He throws off-angle jabs. He doesn't throw a traditional jab. He throws that weird, kind of a slouchy angle downward jab. But his explosion, his quick first step into his little running combinations, that can be deadly if you don't know how to stop it in its tracks, counter it, get off the angle, counter back. If you let him fight his pace of a fight, it'll just be that. It'll be explosion, combination, reset. Explosion, combination, reset. And then he's looking to clip you on one of those combinations. And then when you try to engage him, he has good, solid head movement. So you got to press this dude. You got to press him. You got to put him on his heels. You got to make it a dogfight. And that's what the fuck I plan on doing.
And I also did briefly want to touch on the last fight. I feel like I'd be remiss if I didn't. I mean, a lot of people, understandably, calling it a BKFC classic, just getting the win over Isaac Doolittle and maintaining the very impressive finishing rate that you have. Like, what were the main takeaways from that fight there? Because, like I said, a lot of people really held that in high regard and seemed to quite enjoy it.
No, it was a great fight. For me, I always want to show perfection. I always want to show that I'm, I don't make any missteps. I don't make any faults. I want to show perfection out there. So, but that fight, I didn't show perfection. I showed a little laziness with my defense in the second round he nailed me with the nice hook to my temple, and it really dazed me. And then that's when he saw that I was in trouble, and then that's when he pressed on his attack. And it took me a while, almost, to regain my focus. But while I'm trying to regain my focus, he threw 1,000 punches. He never stopped punching. So it was kind of hard to get out. And at that point, it was just kind of, all right, survive, focus. All right, the punches aren't getting as strong. The punches were starting to die down as far as the power. And then once the end of the second round came, I just shook my head and I thought to myself, I'm like, all right, fuck, that's not happening again. Like, let's fucking go. And then I went out there in the third round, just more serious, looking to get after it. I knew he'd be tired. I took damage, so I was already tired, taking shots to the body, many shots to the head. But I'm like, all right, now we're in a real fight. Maybe I underestimated you a little. I mean, there's many things that I could say, but regardless, what I love about it and what I wanted to show. What you can't show all the time is if you want to be perfect and show perfection all the time, you can't show that you're willing to dig deep and go down into a place and be indestructible. And I was able to show that against Doolittle, that you're gonna have to bring everything and more to try to put me down. I mean, to even knock me down, let alone take me out. And to show that grit, show that resolve, and then to come back and get the finish. And to maintain my, my finish rate, it was a bittersweet victory for me because it still felt good to get the finish. It just, I want to be perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you'd rather not show that grit if you can help it, but it seemed like a lot of people who know far more about, obviously, combat sports than I do, like Paulie Malignaggi was talking in the comments and saying, oh, congrats, my man, you were always destined to win that title. Like, does that hold a certain level of something to you, like having that kind of, I guess, perspective from your peers, like the guys that really are, accomplished in combat sports and understand the deeper nuances of what's going on? Like, do you factor in anything like that? Is it kind of just like a nice thing to hear, or just what do you think about that?
Absolutely. When someone like Paulie Malignaggi, I was such a huge fan of his, man, growing up. When I was in my early 20s, seeing Paulie in my mid-20s and growing up, I was such a fan of his style and everything. And then, I became to kind of know him when I was getting sponsored a lot by a brand called Future Legend that he also kind of owned with a friend of his. So there was a mutual kind of a friendship that I knew there. But then, he's a two-time world boxing champion, and he showed grit in many of his fights, whether in victory or defeat, in the past. And for him to acknowledge that was super cool. I think at the end of the fight with Doolittle, in the back, Sean Wheelock told me, he's like, I know, Mike, I know how you are, and I know how you want to win. He's like, I know right now you're not thinking that, might not be happy about that win, but he's like, that win did more for you. He said, that win did more for you than going out there and just blasting someone out in one or two rounds again. And then as I sat and thought about that, he's right,
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, you love to see that and everything. But I'm kind of curious as to the camp for this one. It seems like you're training out of the Academy, Minnesota. Like I saw some sparring pics with Hamad Ali, and I saw John Castaneda cornering you last time out. Like, what have the, training preparations been like, and what's the corner dynamic going to look like as an extension of that?
Well, I've always been training at the Academy my whole career. The only time I haven't trained at the Academy is when I had to go live in different states to run certain gentlemen's clubs. When I lived in Pittsburgh for 2.5 years, I obviously couldn't really be at the Academy. When I was in Texas for a little over a year, I wasn't able to at the Academy, working with different coaches there. And then when I came back, I started being at the Academy again. But it's just a whole family kind of team dynamic where you get good looks, you get different. I'm working with Nam McIntyre more, working on different ideas, different visions, different angles. Doing mitts with him. I like working mitts with him. Obviously still working with Greg. The knowledge that he brings, and then just the training partners. I still bring a sense of MMA training camp structure more than a boxing camp structure. It's probably 50-50. Some days I'm doing my solo thing with my with the trainer or whatever, where it's just, I'm just doing my boxing stuff, my running, my ropes, my speed bag, my heavy bag, my mitt work, and just kind of more of a solo boxing thing. But then a lot of times on the group sparring session days throughout the week, then you're with your peers, and then you're really grinding and digging it in with them as well. But no, it's a good structure. It's a good camp for me. This is one of those fights where you get up super hungry for it. I think with the Doolittle fight, I wanted to be heavier, so I came in heavier. I didn't like how heavy I came in. I even had to cut fucking water weight at 185 pounds because that's how kind of like heavy I was at. I had to cut 6 to 7 pounds, 6 pounds of water weight. Me, right? At cutting down to 185. So like I want to be leaner again. I kind of want to come down more of a leaner body frame, body style, kind of like more my 175 pound frame, so I can be lighter, quicker, faster. But I still carry the punching speed and power. So just a little bit of all that, man. It's going good, and like I said, we're 5 weeks out, and this is when we really start to, this is when we really start to turn it up on my end and on Lorenzo's end. So.
And I guess what was the mindset in that prior camp to try to like bulk up a bit more? Like, was there something in Doolittle's approach or something like that you thought you needed to kind of focus on that part of the game, or what motivated that, I suppose?
The Doolittle approach was obviously 185, but a lot of Doolittle's fights, he likes to get inside and, try to collar tie. He tries to get in and clinch. He tries to get in and move you around a little bit. And the mindset was, hey, if he got in the clinch, I'd be able to try to, hold body to body with him. And that's really kind of the mentality was with that. Try to match size and strength. He had big, strong legs, so he definitely uses those really well. And then he gets in and he tries to clinch and kind of bully you. So I'm the type of fighter where I'm going to bring the action, no matter who you're with, no matter who you're fighting. I don't like to dance too much. Stick and move. I can fight like that. When I get in there, I want to go. I want to get after it. So, I
Yeah, that makes sense when you lay it out like that. And I mean, I do want to be mindful of your time. I feel like I have dozens of questions I could ask you, but one of the last ones I thought to put out there, just because I saw the receipt you had at Red Cow recently. How long have they been calling you Mikey Knuckles for?
Nah, yeah, that's my fiance's restaurant that she works at, and I'll go visit and I'll eat some food. But I don't know, it's been a minute. One of the bartenders, Drew, there, he knows that I'm there. So then when he sees an order come in, he'll write it down as Mikey Knuckles. I don't know, probably several months now. It's hilarious stuff. I love it.
Yeah, that made me smile when I saw it. Definitely a fun time, no doubt. But very excited for this fight coming up, and I know you got a lot on the go, so I want to be cognizant of that as well, man. But just before we kind of end things off here, I'm curious if there's maybe anything you'd like to kind of add as a parting final sort of thought.
I mean, my parting thought, I know I kind of went on a big old rant and rave about it, a little bit earlier about the discrepancy of the weight class and the title and all that. So I don't need to go there again. All I really want to say is, for those people that are listening in and that will be listening in is, when you watch me fight, it's going to be entertaining. It's going to be a great fight. And, for the most part, Lorenzo puts on entertaining fights too. So that has a recipe for this to be fireworks. And tune the fuck in because you're going to see the Marine victorious again.
Yeah, people are going to have to mark that one on the calendar. February 17th, we got the Marine and the Juggernaut clashing. And yeah, very excited for KnuckleMania 3. So to that point, I appreciate you coming on the show and giving such great insights, Mike. You looking forward to the fight, and just also you have a great rest of your day too, man.
Thank you. You too.